Today we're going to be taking two insanely popular mixed media style effects, CRT effects and paper effects, and combining it into one ultimate mixed media style effect. So stay around all the way to the end of the video because there's some serious sauce in this one. If you're new here, my name is Bryan and I make educational content for millions of creators online just like yourself. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to save time and level up your edits, check out my amazing editing packs, presets, and plugins. I'll have them linked down below, as well as my private community and mentorship called Creator Pass, where I teach you how to grow a real business selling digital products. Like I said, both of them are linked down below. Go ahead and drop a like on the video and let's get into After Effects. So inside of After Effects, this is the clip that I chose of Lil Yachty. You can see it's nothing special. It's just a normal video clip. So I'm going to show you how to turn anything into this insane mixed media style effect like I showed at the beginning of the video. So whatever footage you have, you can do and use. So to get started on that CRT effect, I'm going to open up Surveillance. It's the absolute sauce for digital CRT synth effects without having to have a TV or a synthesizer or anything like that. I'll show you here in just a second. So I'm going to start off by having it say no grid, full HD, and then we can go ahead and choose our footage. So you can see it'll say load footage. We just need to check our composition that we're using, this Lil Yachty here. And then we have to go ahead and import that real quick. And it should say the name of whatever you're selected on over here. And then go to looks. It's going to do a bunch of stuff in the background, basically loading up the plugin itself, all the different presets. And you'll see it instantly transforms it into this black and white camcorder, which isn't what we're looking for, but does look pretty cool. You'll see there's a bunch of overlays that you can add on. But for our effect, let's go ahead and keep it simple and do no overlay, and then we can go through all the presets to get something a little bit more of like that digital synth here. I did like digital synth like this, so let's go ahead and use that and then click edit, and we can go ahead and play around with the radius and the glow. But where I find the best sauce is in the edges here. If you bring it up to like right before it kind of starts clipping the brights like this, it'll have this really cool flicker effect, really like kind of emulating like CRT TVs. So I like that. You can go ahead and make it black and white or night vision, but I really like having this like little colors here. So let's go ahead and play and see what it looks like. I really like this crazy flickering. It really looks like a CRT actual TV. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click done because that's what I want. And we'll name it CRT. And then we can go ahead and close Surveillance because we're done with that for now. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and render this out. That way we can add these paper effects to it and really mesh the two mixed media styles. So I'm gonna render it out and just call it CRT and click render. And then import that back into After Effects right here and drag it into a new composition. And then inside of the Ultimate Texture Bundle V3, the printer paper overlays, the scratch folder, I'm gonna be using the low res scratch 5 FPS and drag that into After Effects and then into our composition above the CRT video. You can see it's really zoomed in because it's actually a 4K clip. So I'm gonna change the scale to 50 and change the blending mode to screen. And now when we play that, you can see we have these paper overlay, but it doesn't really line up with our footage. It doesn't look quite good yet. So what we're gonna do is add on the posterize time effect onto our CRT footage and change that frame rate to 5 because the overlay is actually at 5 FPS. So all we have to do is click 5. So now the paper overlay should line up with the frame change. And if it doesn't, just go to the frame where it actually does change. And now you can see it will line up properly with each frame change here. And now when we play it, we have a lot more of like this paper kind of like laggy kind of effect. One thing I'm going to add on is the curves effect onto the printer paper overlay and just change it so it's a little bit more noticeable. I think it just adds to that kind of paper aesthetic, and that's looking a lot better already. But to sauce it up even more, I'm going to add an adjustment layer and add on RSMB onto that adjustment layer and bring it in between the CRT layer and the paper overlay layer, and then change the blur amount to like 1. And now you can see there's a lot more of this like harsh kind of switch between the frames. And it adds this like really cool kind of glitchy look. And I think it really sells like the two mixed media styles together. So when you render that out, so it all together now kind of like snaps a little bit more. It just feels more laggy and kind of like glitchy. To make it feel even more like an effect, I'm gonna add on something like exposure onto the adjustment layer as well. And then go right where it swaps to the next frame, like right here, and keyframe the exposure up to 1. And I'm gonna go 1 frame before that and change it to 0. And then go 1 frame after that and change it to 0. And then we can actually copy and paste these keyframes to each time it swaps to a new frame and just make the middle one on that swap. So it kind of goes like not bright, bright, and then not bright again. So it has this little flash transition, and we can just go ahead and copy and paste that all throughout. That way it kind of sells the effect a little bit more. You'll see in just a second how cool it actually makes it look. So just going through and adding it to each individual frame swap and then at the beginning as well, just to kind of sell the start of the effect. And I'm really liking the way that looks. I think the flicker adds to the CRT look, and then the RSMB kind of adds to that paper kind of flipping through effect. And look at the colors back here, crazy. And then I'm gonna add on an effect like add grain. I think it just makes it look a little bit more grungy on that adjustment layer below the RSMB and the exposure. And make sure to change the viewing mode to final output. We can change the size down to something like 0.1 so the grain's a little bit smaller. And then let's change up the intensity to something like 2 or maybe even 3. Let's go 2.5, and then I'm gonna make the color monochromatic. That way it just doesn't have color noise. It just, in my opinion, makes it look a little bit more gritty. That's looking insane. I think the last thing I'm just going to change is actually change the scale to 51. That way the borders are there, but they're just not as pronounced. I think it'll look really cool for this effect. And this is kind of the final output. I think it looks insane. I'll have the Ultimate Texture Bundle V3 linked down below, as well as Surveillance. That way you can go ahead and get them and follow along with this tutorial. If you're not already using this in your next music video, I think there's definitely some crazy effects that you can use either with other Ultimate Texture Bundle V3 textures and also with other presets inside of Surveillance. So go ahead and explore, use your creativity, make a unique effect to your own style, because there's some seriously cool things you can create with paper effects and CRT effects for sure. If you made it to the end of the video and you're not already subscribed, be sure to do that. If you want my amazing editing packs, presets, and plugins, I'll have them linked down below, as well as Creator Pass. It's my private community and mentorship where I teach you how to grow a real business selling digital products. But that's all I got for you guys in this one. Peace.